I'm Jordan Raynor, and this is the Word Before Work.
Today we're reading from Romans 12, chapter 1. Here's what it says. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Again, that's Paul speaking in Romans 12, verse 1. Before heading off to World War I, C.S. Lewis made a pact with his friend Paddy Moore. If either were to die on their respective battlefields, the survivor would look after the deceased family. Shortly thereafter, Paddy died. And after being discharged on account of a war injury of his own, Lewis made good on his promise and moved in with Paddy's sister and mother. At first, the Lewis-Moore household was a very happy one, but over time, Mrs. Moore became a thorn in C.S. Lewis's side. According to one of Lewis's biographers, quote, Lewis would be writing or studying in his room when he would suddenly hear a terrible crash from somewhere downstairs and a plaintive cry from Mrs. Moore. In great anxiety, he would run down to find that she had tripped over something and was not in the least hurt, but very shaken. Lewis would bustle about, setting all to rights again, and then return to his work, only to be summoned again 10 minutes later to go out and buy something or to perform some other minor and largely unnecessary task, end quote. Life for C.S. Lewis went on like this for more than 30 years, and yet, according to many of his biographers, quote, no breath of complaint was ever uttered by Lewis against Mrs. Moore, end quote. Why? Because according to Lewis, quote, true happiness in life lies in the path of duty to God, end quote. And what is that duty? Paul answers that question for us in today's passage. In view of God's mercy, offer your bodies, offer your lives as a living sacrifice. C.S. Lewis modeled this command extraordinarily well in at least two ways. The first we've already seen. While Lewis was intensely serious about his work of writing, he recognized that people are just as much the work we're called to as are the tasks on our to-do lists. And so he sacrificed his productivity often without complaint. Second, Lewis was sacrificial with his money. According to one of Lewis's biographers, quote, he would gladly give to anyone who asked, end quote, which is all the more extraordinary considering that Lewis remained convinced of his own poverty until the very day that he died. C.S. Lewis understood that because Jesus was a dying sacrifice, you and I are free to be a living one. Go sacrifice greatly for the glory of God and the good of those you work with today. Today's devotional only scratches the surface of how God's word connects to our work. If you want to go deeper, sign up for my free 20-day devotional called The Word Before Work Foundations at twbwfoundations.com. These email devotionals are designed to help you gain a rich understanding of the biblical narrative of work, how exactly your work matters for eternity, and what those truths mean for how we ought to work today. Sign up right now, again, totally free at twbwfoundations.com.